Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Fairy Tale Family, where our goal is to put a little bit of magic into your everyday. I'm Chelsea, and today we're going to be talking about how you can afford a weekend away in Walt Disney World during 2020. In one of our most recent videos, which I will link right above, as always, we talked about 5 strategies to make this year the most magical yet. And my last tip is to book the trip. Now, in general, I'm talking about any trip, any weekend away, any week-long vacation, any amount of time where you can, in fact, give yourself an escape, vacate your day-to-day life. However, here at the Fairy Tale Family, when we say book the trip, we personally are always talking about something Disney related. More recently, in November, Mark and I did do an inexpensive weekend away in Walt Disney World, and I wanted to show you how we did that. I am sitting in front of our Disney art wall, which I'd like to show you a little bit of. We're in my closet, but I thought I'm trying to find for 2020 what I think my best background might be. And I do like filming in my office, but it feels so dark up there sometimes. So today we are sitting in front of, the door is right here. And this is our Disney art wall. So up at the top, we have an autographed sketch of Wishes, the fireworks show over the Magic Kingdom castle, Cinderella Castle. This is something I made for Mark so many years ago. It is a gift certificate, a ticket to the old Cirque du Soleil that used to play at Walt Disney. It's the Lanuba show, which was fantastic. These are sketches that Mark and I did of Woody in 2012 at Hollywood Studios. This is Mark's single share of Disney ownership. I bought him that for Christmas so many years ago when we were really, really poor and I could only afford to buy him one share. And then these two little guys, this, as you'll know, is from Up. This is from 2014. So we have that little ditty. And I also have some lyrics. Where are they? Here they are. Our wedding song that we got married to is A Whole New World. So I had this framed. I think this was for Valentine's Day. Did I get this from Mark? But we take a really long time to hang things up. But this is gonna go right here. And it's blue, navy and blue. Or navy blue and gray. Anyway, let's get into the ways in which you can afford to take yourself to Walt Disney World this year. Now, full disclosure, we did not do this with children. This was an adults only weekend for us. However, that being said, if you have really little ones, they can still get into the park for free. So keep that in mind when you're planning that you don't necessarily have to buy park tickets for everyone in your family if you have children 3 or under. Now, let's talk about what we did. The first thing we did is book a value resort. We are not value resort people. We are Disney Vacation Club members. And in order for us to get this extra weekend in, we had to sacrifice the quality of the resort in which we were staying. I did an Instagram live room tour. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you should, because there's a lot more Disney content that happens daily there. We are at the Fairy Tale Family. But I did do an Instagram live, which is linked in one of my highlights, about the room. It was adorable. We stayed at Art of Animation, which I would absolutely recommend. Now, we also did a video a while ago on value resorts and the pros and cons of a value resort. Now, obviously, in comparing it to deluxe resorts, there are cons. There are definitely cons to staying at a value resort. But if your whole intention is to get there, is to be in Walt Disney World, there is no con to a value resort, especially Art of Animation. We paid about $120 a night to stay. We did stay for 3 nights. And it was wonderful. No. Did we have like the big fluffy bed? No. Did we sleep separately in 2 double-sized beds? Yes, we did. But when we woke up in the morning, we looked at each other and said, what does this magical day hold? We're in Walt Disney World. So for us to get these bonus weekends or to really set this goal, if you are in a place of saving financially for a weekend away in Walt Disney World, start at the value resorts because they are going to give you the best bang for your buck. There are absolutely perks to staying at a moderate or a deluxe, but those may be trips that are longer in time of days that you're there or that need further planning out to save up for. A value resort can be done in 2020. Because you can save that amount in 2020, especially if it's just for a weekend. So you might only need 2 nights to go. We also looked at the time of year in which we were going. So I'll link that video above as well. Time of year when you go to Disney is everything. If you can be picky about when you go during an off-season time. So we went before the start of December. So we went the weekend before Thanksgiving. Now, almost all of the holiday festivities were alive and well. We went to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Oh, my favorite video, I think, of 2019 is the recap of that. Because it was absolutely everything I wanted it to be. It was incredibly magical. It was beautiful. It was special. It felt extravagant. I loved that. So if you're planning on going for the holidays, but you don't want to wait 120 minutes for Buzz Lightyear and you don't want to pay tip premium prices, go before Thanksgiving if you can. I will also make sure that video is included here because the planning of where you stay and when you go will allow you to get this trip in. Another tip is to book through a Walt Disney World travel agency. I'm not sponsored, I'm not a Disney travel agent, but I do know that they know in advance about the deals that are coming out. Like free dining just came out for the upcoming year. I do have a friend, her name's Leanne. She is specifically a Disney travel agent. I'll link her email below. I know that she knows about deals before they come out to the public. So it's typically a very free service, and you can find them online as well. But looking for those like free dining experiences, lower ticket prices, all of those little perks that can be provided to you through a Disney travel agency. So making sure that you are booking the value, that you're going at an off-peak or off-like season time, and then using the resources of a travel agent. Something else I would recommend, because you can't change the cost of a park ticket, but you can change the cost of how you eat in Disney, is Amazon Prime Now. Again, we did a video on why you need it, especially as a parent, but why you need it to save money, I will link that above. Amazon Prime Now can deliver you breakfast, snacks, potentially lunches to bring into the park. We saw a lot of families traveling with coolers, especially when we were in Hollywood Studios eating at Andy's Toy Box, Andy's Lunchbox. I never remember the name. I want to call it Andy's Lunchbox. We'll go with that. So we saw a lot of families bringing in their own food, and we brought in our own beverages. We don't buy water in the parks. We bring Mark's Camelback backpack and like slurp out of that. And I pack some snacks for us that we have either brought from home that are easy to pack or we've purchased on Amazon Prime Now. Because food prices in Disney are higher, right? Like they're higher than your average run-of-the-mill grocery store prices. So even though on Amazon Prime Now you are definitely paying a higher fee for convenience, it's still easier than going into the park and splitting a cheeseburger for $13 or having a meal be $13 to $18 per person. Now, perhaps one meal a day you splurge on and you get to have at either a great restaurant or that you get to have at a quick stop or counter service that you really, really love. For us, I think that would probably be Our Guest or Satuli Canteen, that bao bun. Think about it. Think about it all year long. But I would say plan your meals out so that one meal a day you're getting in the park. Now, if that's not feasible for you, bring all your own food. That's totally allowed. So, and you can purchase a locker in the parks for rental for about $10 a day. Now, that may not be feasible either, and you just bring the big old backpack in, and that's okay too. Just know that you are going to get, you have to go through security to have that backpack searched upon entrance into the parks. But taking care of your own food really cuts down on the cost. And before you go, hop on Etsy, hop on Instagram, and search for ears and t-shirts that you're not buying in the parks. You can go to Target and for $12, buy a Minnie Mouse t-shirt. But once you get into the parks, the merchandise, like the ears, run $23 to $30. And then the t-shirts, of course, run more than that. And if you're looking at spirit jerseys, those are in the 60s. Like, if you're going with children, you know they're going to want Disney merchandise. Bring it with you. We bought Callie one of those like little bubble wands that have the tiny bubbles that come out of the top before we got to the parks, because they're $33 there, and we got ours for $6.99 at Target. So looking ahead and really planning out when you're going, where can you stay? What can you bring or use Amazon Prime Now to eat? And then what restaurants, because you can also look at the menus and pre-price out how much you're bringing for food. And then what merchandise, if any, will you purchase beforehand somewhere else or even on sale on the Shop Disney app, can save you a ton of money. The other piece is, if you're flying, that you are able to pack and just a bag that you carry on the plane, because that'll save you, depending on the airline you travel on. Some airlines charge for bags to be checked, so you can save additional fees by just using a carry-on. And the last thing I want to say about Art of Animation as a resort, one of the cons that I talked about in the value video is transportation. So from a value resort needing to take the bus system. A lot of that has changed with the introduction of the Skyliner. We absolutely loved our experience on the Skyliner. I'll link our review above. It is quiet and peaceful and a fantastic way to get in and out of some of the Disney parks without needing the bus. Art of Animation also does not have an internal bus service, which means you don't have 50 stops before you actually need to get on and off. I still am not a big bus lover when it comes to Walt Disney World, just because we're looking to maximize our time in the parks. And I think the bus is an amazing system. It's wonderful that you can get in and out of the parks for free. However, I want to be there quickly because I'm impatient. So if you're traveling with littles, just know that the buses add some time on, but there are now on the app, at the bus stops, they have people there and screens to tell you when the next buses are coming and how long you have to wait. That was like a complaint from 5 or 10 years ago that I don't have anymore, because Disney has alleviated that issue. So there are absolutely ways, friends, no excuses, that you can book the magical trip for yourself this year. You can afford this. Now, that may mean that you're looking at November of 2020, the weekend before Thanksgiving. It also means that you're probably eliminating weeks like spring break, school vacations. If you have tiny little kids and a job where you can go in September, jackpot. The weather is still beautiful and warm. There's nobody in the park because all the kids have gone back to school. Teachers can't go. So September is like the jackpot month to go. But if you can't go in September and you're on a teacher schedule like me, you can also look at summer months too, which are coming up more quickly than we might think. So you can afford it. Can you leave me a comment below if you plan to book your trip for 2020? I am so excited. We have a trip planned to Disneyland and Aulani, which is in Hawaii, Oahu, Hawaii, in August. And we're already looking at when are we going back to Disney World, and maybe how can we sneak another weekend in this year. So I myself am using these tips too. So can you just leave a comment to let me know if you're booking for 2020 and who's going on that trip? Is it you and an adult? Is it you and your kids? I just love hearing about other people's vacations. So I hope this was helpful for you and that you're having a magical, amazing 2020 so far. And I will see you in future videos. Bye, friends.